American threat to ban TikTok caused a wave of frustration and fear among its users. But there is one country that actually went through with it: Albania, a small but stunning country in southern and Eastern Europe, made the bold decision to ban TikTok for an entire year. A ban set to take effect earlier this year, in 2025. For me personally, we are already in this period, so I am waiting to see if they will really go through with it. But the Albanian Prime Minister, Edi Rama, said, "We will completely shut down TikTok for everyone. There will be no TikTok in Albania." But why such a drastic move? What could push a government to pull the plug on one of the world's most popular apps? It's not the same reason as in America, but in Albania, it all comes down to the case of Martin. It all started online. Social media beef. What were the boys fighting about? That really remains unanswered. Who started it? Were there threats? No one really knows. But what began as an argument on the internet quickly escalated into something way more real. On Friday, November 15, 2024, Martin and Mario came face to face for the first time in the school courtyard. A fight broke out, but the school security guard stepped in and broke it up. That should be the end of it, but it wasn't. The upcoming weekend was Martin's last. After that weekend, school was back in session on Monday, November 18. That morning, the two clashed again. First, it is reported they clashed inside the school restroom. It must have been super intense. Whatever they were fighting about, I couldn't find out. But anyway, whatever it was, they couldn't let go. And the last time they fought, it turned out deadly. After the school at around 1:10 p.m., just around 200 meters from the school, Fannoli, the fatal fight took place. At some point, Martin realized that he is outnumbered, that he cannot fight alone, so he called his friend Luis for a backup. Luis went to another school. I think it was nearby, but I'm not sure. So now there were three boys fighting. Not sure if just with words or with fists already at this point, but at some point Mario pulled out a big knife and stabbed Martin in the heart. However, this didn't stop him. He stabbed Luis at least 6 times. Mario stabbed so hard that he even wounded himself. This is really common when somebody is stabbing someone. Argentina was just passing by when she saw Martin on the floor, just a few minutes after he was stabbed. She didn't hesitate. She ran to him, started giving him first aid, and helped him to the hospital. She later reported that Martin briefly regained consciousness and called out for his mother. She held his hand, urging him to stay with her, while another man applied pressure to his wound. They got him to the hospital, and Argentina was hopeful that Martin would survive, but the knife wound to the heart was fatal. Martin was pronounced dead at Trauma Hospital shortly after arrival. Luis, Martin's friend, who was stabbed multiple times, was also rushed to the hospital in serious condition. Later, Luis gave an interview recalling that Martin was just lying on the ground. He was seriously wounded with a knife. And what did Mario, the attacker, do after the fight? He went straight to social media and posted a picture of the knife and his wounded hand, bragging about it. And he even sent the picture to a few of his friends, like some kind of trophy. In the picture, his hand is bloody, a deep cut visible from the knife, and another image shows him sitting inside a vehicle, his arm bandaged, while somebody else snapped the photo. Whose car it was, who took the photo, I don't know. It remains a mystery to me. At some point that day, Mario headed to a private hospital to get his wound patched up. Of course, they got him right away, bragging on social media after stabbing someone to death. Unimaginable to kill someone. But for me, this is another step forward, bragging about it. Yes, true. At this point, probably he didn't know he killed someone, or maybe he did. I don't know. But bragging about it, there's nothing to brag about. Now he's facing a serious charges, intentional murder committed against a minor, and producing, keeping, buying, or selling cold weapons without a permit. After Mario recovered, prosecutors questioned him for 8 hours. What they talk about, we don't know. But what came out is that he is not showing any remorse, and basically they changed the charges to a murder under qualifying circumstances. So you might be asking, what is this? The same question I asked myself, and what it means that Mario isn't just looking at a few years in juvenile detention, but he is actually facing life in prison. In Albania, a legal term murder under qualifying circumstances refers to intentional homicide committed under specific aggravating circumstances, such as premeditation or cruelty. So basically, it looks like he intended to kill someone, and they actually charge him with more after the interrogation. This reclassification indicates that the authorities view this crime as particularly severe, deserving a harsher potential sentence. I'm not sure when exactly this happened, probably a day or so after. For sure, Mario was still in the hospital, and Mario's father spoke to local media about what happened. Quote, I have not spoken yet. I'm trying. You don't need to intervene. I have enough dignity, character, and soul to speak with his family. I have never done them harm. I am not from an ordinary family, but from a noble one. My wife and I work together. We have one beloved son, referring to Mario, and we try to raise him as he should be raised. I don't know what else to say. No one can destroy my family. My family has accomplishments. I share the pain with Martin's family as if my own son had died. I know nothing, only that my son is accused of the act. If I would know about it, that wouldn't have happened. I have one beloved son. I have no words to say. I cannot find the words to express condolences to the family that have suffered this tragedy. People's speculation don't interest me. But to speculate about a 14-year-old who doesn't know what life is, referring to Mario, by the way, what a fight is, what he did, I don't know what he did. God willing, he didn't do it, because I haven't seen any footage. What a weird thing to say, huh? It feels to me like he is setting the stage for the defense. My son is in the hospital. I can't stop people's words because I don't care about them at all. I care about the family's pain, and my son is in the hospital. He is a child. He is distraught and in a state of shock. And both I and my wife are in the state of shock. So this is what Mario's father has said. What do you think about it? To me, he's like talking that they are for a noble family, that their son doesn't have a clue what he did. It rubbed me the wrong way. When asked if he was in the car with his son at the moment he posted photos on social media after the crime, he denies it. So Mario was in someone's car and the photo was taken. But again, we don't know by whom and whose car it was. Luis luckily survived the brutal attack. and after a week he recovered from his physical injuries and gave an interview to the media. He described the chaos of the day, revealing that he wasn't just fighting one, but three attackers. So till now, everybody thought that there is just one attacker. Also, the news in the media reported as such. That's why I also started like that, so you can get the feeling how the crime was actually reported. But Luis, who was there, is saying there were three attackers. He recalled the moment when things spiraled out of control. I remember that Mario's friend, the boy with long hair, hit me on the back. I turned and hit him back. When I turned again, Mario already has his knife out and was stabbing Martin in the heart. I ran to defend Martin, but before I could do anything, someone grabbed me and lifted me off the ground. I don't know who he was. So, according to Luis, there was Mario, the boy with the long hair, and someone that grabbed him. When I turned back, Mario pointed the knife at my heart. I put my hand forward, and the knife barely missed my heart. Then he switched the knife from his left hand to his right hand and aimed for my throat. I lowered my head and hit him on the forehead with my hand. The fight escalated. He stabbed me 6 times in the chest, but 4 of them hit me, so he missed 2 times. I was surrounded by 2. Out of fear, I hit both of them hard. One of them hit his head on the metal bars, and I punched the other one in the eye, and he ran away. Journalists asked Luis, "Are you saying there were 3 people at the scene?" "Yes, one just lifted me up." So 2 attacked him and one just lifted him up. Journalist, "You could not identify the third person?" "No, I don't know." "You said 2 people had a knife. Do you still stand by this version?" "Yes, I still stand by the statement I gave until the end." "I want them to come and do the forensic examination," Louis said, "so that everyone understands that I have wounds from 2 different knives." Louis also wants to give a message to everyone. It is not good to fight, because fighting brings many consequences. He spent a week in the hospital recovering from stab wounds to his stomach, back, and lungs. His family is struggling with the cost of the treatment, including hospital care, psychological support, and physiotherapy. Of course, he recovered physically. Clearly, he needs physiotherapy, but also psychological help. I cannot imagine the post-traumatic stress disorder, the guilt that he might have because he survived, or he thought that he might do something differently and Martin would be alive. So Louis' family said a GoFundMe, but also Martin family said a GoFundMe, and I donated to both of them. And if you want and can, you can donate as well. I will link both GoFundMe's campaigns in the description box. And of course, if you don't want or you cannot donate, totally understandable. But if you want to help, you can share their GoFundMe campaign and support them that way. What was also nice to read was that the football community has stepped in for Luis and offered him a physiotherapist from national football team. They will help with his rehabilitation free of charge. So this is really sweet of them, because both of them, Luis and Martin, were playing soccer professionally. Not professionally, but they were in the football clubs. I think Luis was in Dinamo and Martin was in Partizan. And what is really touching as well, Luis' mom shared that when he left the hospital, he didn't go home, but he went straight to Martin's father. And when Martin's father saw Luis, he said to him, "You are my child now. I don't have Martin anymore." And they both broke down in tears. You might be wondering who is the second attacker and did he took a photo of Martin in the car. But whose car it is? It doesn't make sense to me. It needs to be adult person car, doesn't it? So the name the police try to keep under the wraps is Clydion. And no shocker here, he is from a well-known, wealthy family. His dad, head of economic and financial crime sector at the General Directorate of Police. His mom, a legal secretary at SPAC. This is Albania's special anti-corruption and organized crime organization. The kid of two high-level officials caught up in a murder investigation. At first, Clydion was officially listed as part of the knife attack, the same one that left Martin's dead and Louis severely wounded. Witnesses told police he was in the fight, active, involved. But then something strange happened. Suddenly, Clayton's name vanished from the case. Poof! Just gone. Officially, the investigators ruled that Mario acted alone. The police, of course, denied that they took part in any cover-up. They claim that Claydion had no role in the attack at all. But not everyone is buying it. Louis' father went public, calling out the police for what he believes is a pure corruption. He said, "Where there is a state, there are criminals. The son of the government officials enjoys life. The child of the poor, one is dead and one is in the hospital with 6 stab wounds. This is our state." Only after this discovery that there were 2 people and pressure from the public, Clydion has surrendered to the state police. I think it was after a week or so. They recorded minor injuries on him. Right cheekbone had a small bruise, like 1 centimeter and slightly swollen. Inner lip had a tissue tear, also about 1 centimeter, probably from a hit or a bite. And right knee had a circular bruise, deep red in color, so healed a little bit already, and it was again 1 centimeter, so barely anything. Which raises the question, if Martin and Louise had really attacked them, wouldn't they suffer worse injuries? Instead, it looks more like they were the one doing the physical attack. Mario, he is in the juvenile detention. He is now pushing for the release. He even appealed in Court of Appeals in Tirana, asking for a lighter security measure, citing concerns about his health. His lawyer is arguing self-defense, claiming that Mario had no intention to kill and acted only to protect himself. Hard to believe for me personally, especially if I see where he tried to stab Luis and Martin. During questioning, Mario insisted that he didn't bring a knife to the scene that day. Instead, he claimed he took the knife from the other party involved in the fight. That is interesting. So Mario is also indicating that somebody else was with him and he gave Mario the knife. According to the forensic examination of the knife, no trace of Mario DNA was found on it. However, there were blood traces of Luis and Martin. After Martin's murder, protests erupted in front of the school. His parents, along with other people, demanded justice. But the demonstration didn't stop there. Crowds gathered multiple times at the Ministry of Education, pushing for real change. More investments in education, better securities in schools, more school psychologists, and of course, they want them to take accountability for what happened. But officials are wiping their hands off and say that the attack took place after the school hours and not on the school grounds. So they are not taking any responsibility. On this protest, Martin's parents read their letter. "They are killing us too, me, my husband, and Martin's brother, Henry, with their attempts to twist and manipulate what happened. They refuse to clarify the truth, just to protect the guilty. Unlike Martin, they still walk free." In light of these events, Albania Prime Minister Edi Rama decided to ban TikTok for all, not just kids, saying that this decision is supported by 90% of the parents group and teachers he spoke to. After a yearly ban, they will take another look, and only then they will decide what's next for TikTok. Along with the ban, the government ramped up police presence in school and strengthened collaboration with parents as part of the larger push to make schools safer. But of course, not everybody is on board with the ban. Critics of the ban are calling this a dictatorial decision, an attack on free speech and democracy. But to top it all off, the fight between Mario and Martin didn't even happen on TikTok, which also TikTok stated, but on Snapchat. Meanwhile, a spokesperson for the European Commission stated that EU had taken note of Albania's decision, but emphasized that in the EU, banning digital services should only happen as a last resort and in response to a legal violation, and not individual incidents. Other European countries are approaching this differently by limiting the age at which somebody can use the apps. For example, France is require parental consent for minors under 15 years old. Also, Germany demands something similar. Belgium enforcing a minimum age of 13 for social media accounts without parental consent. But once they turn 13, they can sign up for social media platform without needing a permission from their parents. I think in Australia, recently they did something similar, but the age was not 13 but 16. Albania's TikTok ban is easily one of the strictest moves in Europe. But whatever it will hold up legally or prove effective remains to be seen. Martin's shelter, his room, where he grew up, dreamed, and fought for his goals, will now be a place for those who loved him. On the walls, you will find his words, jokes, dreams, and goals. You will find his photos, t-shirt, ball, accessories, or messages, tasks in the notebook, completed or not, and the memories he left behind. He taught us that dreams never stop. Through him, we dare to dream bigger. Martin was not just a name, but a light that illuminates the path of every heart that believes in courage and the impossible. Martin wasn't just a son and a brother. He was a teammate, a friend, a boy full of life and ambition, a young footballer with a future ahead of him. Today, we remember him for the lessons he left behind, the strength, the determination, and the light he brought to the world. And this is the end of Martin's case. Tell me in the comments what do you think, and thank you for staying till the end. And if you want to hear more stories from Europe, mainly from non-English speaking countries, please subscribe. See you next time.